Hey, Ben. I hope you like that introduction. Let's move on to the Vivas. Woo! What was life like in early colonies? Although many people think the early colonies were easy, it was actually completely different. So it was often portrayed in Laura Ingalls Wilder's Little House on the Prairie. People don't obviously get a real sense of how things actually were. So, oh, look at that angle. So, actually, it was extreme amounts of work, okay? Extreme amounts of work. Way more than normal people. Oh, two. You see that? I took my hand off, switch to the other hand. Number two. It was extremely adventurous, but also ridiculously dangerous. Also, number three, there were a lot of lawless people at this time. Oh, you see that? That was a light flash. I've been to the mice down. What you did the mice about? Tell me, homie, where you clowns at? Point one. Although many people think that early colonies was an easy place to live in, it was actually extreme amounts of work. Let me tell you a story about a lady named Martha Ballard. She was a good person. So was her husband, until his wood mill burned down. Then it wasn't as good. But, anyways, what I was saying is that his wood mill burned down. So they needed money. So he went to become a surveyor and survey land, which is pretty much measuring the land and everything. He was doing this for a while until a squatter who's illegally staying on the land was there, and he kicked him out. And he said, "No way, sir, you must leave." Anyways, once he left, he didn't come back because he didn't want them to finish the job, aka killing him. So, he became a tax collector. But he had such a big heart that he never took people's money. So this is bad because then he got filed for tax fraud. That's not a good place to be in. So he got put in jail outside of the city limits. And since it was outside the city limits, he couldn't give his wife money. So she needed to give him money by himself. Woo-hoo! So that was also bad. So she had to feed her 9 children. It's a lot of children to feed by yourself. And she had to have money and stay in her house and do everything by herself. This was not a good place to be in, ladies and gentlemen. This was a very bad place to be in. So she became a midwife. Okay? When someone's having a baby, she stays by them. A lot of times they stay in bed with them, which is a little awkward. But we don't care about that, do we? Because we just want to figure out how Martha Ballard ended up surviving and raising her 9 children successfully. Right? So anyways, she was doing that and it was great. As Laura Ulrich says, it was comforting, quote, it was comforting to have people there, to witness your efforts and ensure a safe baby. And if a trauma were to happen and the baby would die, they would be there to help them. End quote. That was extremely important, and she did this, and Martha Ballard successfully lived. Point number 2 says, it was adventurous, but also extremely dangerous. One of the things that people would do a lot of times is they would, a lot of times they would be ship's crew and crewmen and sail the ocean blue, not 1492, but a little later than that. They were doing this, and it was great, but it was extremely, extremely, extremely dangerous. But adventurous. So people would do it, and it's something of risk that you have to take. So they were doing this. It was pretty great. But Josh will be quiet. I'm making a video right now. So what I was saying, they would go on the crew, and since there was a very big lack of vitamin C from all of the food, from all the food that they didn't have, because they would have beef, they'd have crackers, they'd have cheese, and they'd have wine and water. It's not a very good thing to get vitamin C off of, folks. So the story goes, 2 men got in a fight. One of them punched the other man's face, and it goes through his face. It went through, and his face imploded, and the guy said, "What have you done?" And he fell over and died. Not a good way to die, ladies and gentlemen. If you die, don't die that way. So he died. Another thing that, who was it? Ben Shattuck said, After telling a story about how a whale ate a man, kind of like Jonah the whale, he said that when they cut open the whale's stomach, his face and arms were bleached entirely white by the stomach acids, end quote. And this was extremely dangerous, as you can maybe tell just from how it was. So, there were a lot of dangerous things, as you can see, that happened with this, especially since this was a very popular career option. Point Tracy. Point Tracy. It was filled with lawless people back then. Yes, let me tell you about the story of Jamaica, or otherwise known as Port Royal. It was a great place. Sugar trade was at its highest. People were happy, people were flourishing, and things were happening, which was a great thing to do back then. Can you please stop it, Josh? Goods were flowing through them every day, but since the infrastructure did not get that good back then, all of the dirt under the city fell. And the city broke. Hold on a second. Let me... Josh, I'm trying to make a video. You're being kind of rude right now. Can you stop? Ben's seeing this, so I don't know. Yeah. Anyways, like I was saying, it collapsed, and there were 3 big rumbles, and everything fell to the bottom. Everything fell to the bottom. And there were a few survivors, give and take, but to tell a story, but otherwise than that, no one really survived. And, which is pretty dangerous, saying the whole town sunk, and you're in the middle of nowhere, that'd be kind of a little dangerous. And it was, so a lot of people died that day. At first, the church, all the tombstones cracked. It was not a very good time to be alive. So although many people think that it was early to live in the early colonies, often portrayed in Laura Ingalls Wilder's book Little House on the Prairie, it was actually completely different. Life was full of enormous amounts of work. 2, life was filled with adventure, but also extreme danger. And number 3, life was filled with lawless and abusive people. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, peace!